Hey, what's up? I'm Ronni and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be sharing my experiences in Croatia, but just want to say that I'm sorry that I haven't been the most consistent on this channel because I have been extremely busy with college and getting really involved in organizations, doing homework, trying to spend time with family when they come, whatever it is. So actually, with my one class, we had a calendar and we were outlining everything we did in a week, and so there was a lot of things that I noticed I could take out. So I reevaluated everything, and I made it so that I have chunks of time that I plan to work on video editing, filming, brainstorming ideas every week. As long as I can stick with that, I should be able to start posting consistently again. At least that's what I'm hoping for. So sorry again, and I'm excited to finally be back and posting videos again. So before even arriving in Croatia, we had a very memorable travel day. So it started off with a 7-hour train ride from the Czech Republic to Graz, Austria. And then we had a 3-hour layover in Graz, and from there we got on another train that was for 4 hours, and that train actually went through Slovenia. I've heard it said both ways. I'm not sure what's actually correct, but we had gone through there, and that was really cool being able to see that country, especially because we weren't actually going to get out there. So we actually had discussions on our team what it counted as to travel to that country, and eventually we all decided that we thought, or at least some people thought, that you had to step foot in that country to count it. And so let's just say a couple people, or everyone that had the idea, there's 4 of us I think, we had the idea, not smart, to jump off the train and back on very quickly so that we wouldn't miss it, but that we would be able to count it for the people that didn't count traveling to that country as just going through it on a train. So I ended up not doing that. I didn't personally, but there was a couple girls on our team that did that, got right back on, and it was fine. But I was waiting for somebody else to do it with, who had gone to the bathroom. So luckily I didn't end up doing it, but our trip leaders actually found out about this, and they were not happy, and it was a really stupid choice on our part, because if we would have gotten stuck there, we would have been pretty much screwed, because we didn't have phones or anything since it was a mission trip, and we would have hoped that we could have communicated with people and somehow found our way back to them, but it would have been a big hassle for our entire team, because they would all had to come back, and we probably would have wasted passes on our Eurail, and it could have really messed up a lot of the trip if things didn't work out the way that it did. So to make matters even worse, for the last 4-hour train ride, can't remember if the first one was like this too, but we had compartments, so there were 6 people in this glassed-in area, and we had these giant bags that didn't even really fit on the racks, and we had to manage to get 6 of those in a compartment with 6 seats So a lot of the bags were like all over the floor room and literally every space above us, sometimes to the side if there was any room. But they were all squished in. So we were all squished in, and a lot of times our feet were like on top of each other or on our bags or just like curled up, and our seats like kind of like had our feet like kind of like this pretty much because of the lack of space that we had. And a lot of this was also because sometimes we would have other passengers come in to the same compartments as us that weren't on our team. So it's like we couldn't even use all the above storage, or we couldn't find a different area of the train to put it on. So that was a huge pain. And then, of course, the one time I'm sitting closest to the window in the compartment, and I slightly felt something up in my nose. I didn't think anything of it. Well, long story short, it starts bleeding everywhere. Got it on my shirt, got it on my pants. I don't know if I got it on the floor, but I literally started holding it, and then I like jumped over all these bags and like ran back to the bathroom, and our trip leader just starts like freaking out, wondering what's going on, and then somebody else told her as I was running to the bathroom, which I heard. But yeah, so that was not ideal, and it actually stained the first Wright State shirt that I had, which is the college that I'm going to, so I was very bummed about that. So once we did finally get in Croatia, our final destination, it was very late, but we ended up getting there, I guess it wasn't that bad. It was like 11 or 12 or something, which like now that's pretty normal for me to stay up till, so it's really not that bad. But we had actually seen a lunar eclipse, so that was really cool. The moon was like big and orange for the longest time, and then it just like changed very quickly to just like a very bright white crescent, so that was really cool. And then the last thing that happened like during the time that we were on the train was a lot of people were feeling spiritual warfare and just like almost like afraid to do ministry in Croatia. So that was honestly like a huge thing that people were talking about the whole way to Croatia, and it was really affecting people. And like honestly it was a bit scary, like just hearing what people were feeling and thinking, and then like it just kind of got into the head of everyone, including me. So that was pretty hard. But then right after, I think that same night, our trip leader decided to have we talked about it a little bit, but then the next morning we had a teaching on spiritual warfare, and honestly it was so good, and honestly all of us were like so refreshed and just like excited to do ministry in Croatia, because we knew that Satan was trying to put those thoughts in our head and just like attack us in that way, but we were able to overcome that. And honestly I had some of the best conversations in Croatia. So one other exciting thing about this first morning is we got to sleep in, so that like barely happened, and then we had a good breakfast that I really liked, and there was one other thing. Oh yeah, we got to shower, and like being on a big team and all that, I don't know if I've talked about this in my previous videos, but it was often like hard to get showers, or we had to take like showers using like a hose outside or like whatever, but we had actual showers, and so that was nice. And I feel like I had a decent amount of time, like more than the other times. So when you're traveling with a big group, it's hard to get, and I was really thankful for it. And then one other thing that I specifically journaled about was some of the conversations I had, but more specifically one with a group of about 3 girls that were about my age, and they were actually backpackers who all met in Belgium and then just like continued to travel together. So it was really cool that they ended up in Croatia all together. And we originally just sat by them. Well, we originally started the conversations because we saw they literally had pieces of pizza that were like this big. Like they were so big, like they were probably like a third of a pizza, like a big pizza. So we were like, oh, that looks so good. We might as well like ask them about their pizza, see where they got it. That way when we have free time we could get it, and you know, we thought it would be a great way to start a conversation with them. So we talked to them for a little bit, and after asking them, they actually mentioned, hey, like, you guys can go get some and then sit back with us if you want, because we'll be here for a bit. And we're like, oh, that's okay, we'll go later, whatever. And so they next just like told us, they're like, you can sit and talk with us. So we just like sat. They were sitting on like a ledge, and we just sat like on the ground like near them, and so we had a really good conversation. And all three of them said like we had talked about why we were there and like what we believed in and everything, like just being able to share the gospel with them. And they told us pretty much that they believe in evolution or the Big Bang Theory, and like we were not trying to like convert them on the spot, like yeah, that would have been nice, but they were just really respectful and listened to what we had to say and just seemed really interested in what we believed. And we just had a really good conversation with them. So about before my trip, I really was getting to the point where I just like didn't like reading the Bible. I just felt like it was just like another thing that I needed to do and check off a to-do list, whatever. But at this point in the trip, I remember just being like super excited to just like get in the Word and read more and learn from it and study it. And that was like honestly so exciting. Like even just like reading that in my journal again, like when I was preparing to do this video, I was just like refreshed by that, and it just like got me almost excited to like get into the Word today and just try to almost like replicate what I did then to like regain that interest again, because I feel like initially right after the trip I was still like really excited to read the Word and stuff, but recently I've been getting to the point where it's like, oh, it's just another thing I have to do, just like homework and, you know, doing all these different things. So yeah, hoping to start to establish that back in my life. I've been doing scripture reading a lot, but like I said, I just kind of want to get back into that same mindset that I had and just, I think really just like study and reflect on scripture and not just read it, because I feel like that's when I'm not enjoying it, is when I'm not actually learning from it and I'm just reading it, just like anything else. So one of the last main things that I remember, like experience-wise, is being with two other girls on my team, and we had gone together, and literally we just like pooled our money that we had together at the time, and we got such good deals on all of our food and everything that we had like a lot left over to be able to like get like souvenirs for people and just like extra snacks, different things for ourselves, like whatever. So like that was really fun. We worked really well together, and like a lot of times people in the free time wanted to do like a lot of different things, but we were all like in agreement every single time we talked about doing something, so that made it extremely easy to be able to figure out what we wanted to do. And actually, when I was with them, I remember getting this giant thing of milk. It was probably like, I mean, it was probably close to about a half gallon, because it was like this wide and like about this tall-ish, and it was like a weird like bottle shape. And I remember getting milk for the first time in a while, and I'm one that normally has it like at least once every day, once for breakfast, and I was super excited. And even the people on our trip that talked about, some of the leaders talked about getting it also, they're like, make sure you don't get too big of a thing because you'll probably get sick because you haven't drank it in a while or whatever, anytime that like somebody saw it and wanted it. So I did end up getting a giant thing, and I did drink a lot, probably more than I should have or what they would have recommended, but I was fine. And I ended up giving the rest of it to somebody else on my team that also was like, and she had been like pretty much craving it also. So it was nice being able to do that for her because she was really excited. So the last thing that I really talked about in my journal while I was in Croatia was my excitement for college, which here I am. Here's my dorm. Yep. And honestly, the first semester was somewhat rough, but now the second semester has been like honestly amazing, and I'm loving my classes, loving all the people that I've met and the church that I've gotten involved in, and honestly I'm just having so much fun, and this is kind of what I imagined it to be, but probably even better at that time, so I'm glad to be here. So if you stuck around to this point, I just want to say thank you for watching this video and for taking the time out of your day to listen to this crazy woman, and I just hope that you have an awesome day, and if you're new, please subscribe down below and like this video, and also feel free to leave any video suggestions if you have any, and I will get to those as soon as possible, unless for some reason I just don't want to do it or whatever. So, bye!